No, it's not that no more. Welcome everyone to the Moving Famous podcast. Welcome back. We've had a little bit of delay in the episodes that we've been doing lately. I can only apologize for that. But if you do care about the podcast, the reason we had a delay is because the previous episode, we just had to delay it for some other reasons. But it will still be out. We're just waiting for the other person to confirm and then we're good to go. But we're doing a podcast episode today that is very, very important because a lot of the time we get people on the podcast that we don't know. So it's good to have people on that we do know, that we've known for a long time. And the conversations will obviously be a bit more different. But let's get straight into it. We've got Rob in the house. Rob.
What's going on, my brother?
What's happening?
How we doing?
Good to see you.
Yeah, long time.
Bro, we've been trying to get this episode in for how long?
Too long.
Suddenly we done it.
Too long, I think, over the duration of the last year, I think.
Has it been that long?
It's been a while. I think we first mentioned doing it, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, and yeah.
Was it that long ago?
It's been a process, yeah.
Bro.
We're here now, and that's all that matters.
Do you know why? I'd say the main reason, and you know why, is because I wanted Sachin to be here.
Yeah.
And the main reason we wanted Sach to be here was because he's also known you for a long time as well. And it would have been nice.
Yeah, and he decided not to turn up. So,
Yeah.
Sachin, a quick message to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed you, and you didn't turn up, so I'm gutted.
Exactly. And you've made yourself all the way from, where'd you come from? Up north, let's say.
Yeah, I'm more north, yeah.
It's quite far, bro. How was the journey to London?
Not too bad, to be fair. It's only an hour.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It
From
wasn't
where you
too
are, I
bad.
go quite often up there.
Once you're on the M1, you just fly.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't too bad today. There wasn't
Well,
any
and a few good
crashes or anything.
Yeah,
So
not today anyway.
no,
It's good that we do it at this time as well because we're doing an evening in North London, which is good.
yeah,
So I've known you, Rob, now for the course of, I want to say, over 5 years.
yeah.
First met from Shuman's shoots back a long time ago when he first done some of his first shoots.
Yeah,
And I know you know the Mandan from other shoots from before, hence why you're doing Shuman's shoots at Diamond
That's right.
Jewels. But and you've just gelled well with us so well that we've just all kept in contact, which is great.
yeah.
But I want to go back, Rob. Like for those that don't know you, what do you do now?
What don't I do now? Do you know, it's such a difficult question. I get that a lot. People say to me, "What do you do?" And I say, "Well, it's easier to just say, what don't I do? A bit of everything. I'm a bit of a jack of all trades."
Yeah.
I think is the saying they use. Rob of all trades, we'll go for. I'm a rob of all trades. A bit of everything. So I've got a couple businesses. I make music. I do modelling, acting. I don't even want to list them all because I'll miss stuff.
Yeah. But that's what the thing about being a creative is that you have to do a lot of things in order to not only earn money to live,
Yeah.
but you have to do things that help your career grow, which don't sometimes pay.
And I think that's okay. So that's probably the best thing to say is I'm a creative.
Yeah.
That's
That's what it
probably
is.
the best thing to say.
Like this podcast, it doesn't really pay us. It doesn't pay us nothing. Actually, doesn't really pay. It doesn't pay us anything.
No.
But we do it because one, we enjoy it, and two, it's just another way for us to have content out so people can see what other people are doing.
And it's leaving a legacy. You know,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
10
of
years'
course.
time when we look back and we're wherever we are in our careers or lives, we can look back and say, well, what are we talking about then? Does that even matter to us now? Or
Yeah.
just to look back and reminisce and see where we were at and do the comparison, you know?
Do you have those like life like things that where you just think back and you think, right, my life was different? Like, do you ever deep it like that?
I think my life has changed drastically in the last year. I think, you know, since I hit 30, I was petrified. You know, I thought, I'm about to hit 30. What's next for me? And am I where I thought I was going to be when I was, you know, a teenager, for instance, looking ahead at my life and saying, I want to be this when I'm 30. Because when you're younger, you kind of look at 30 as that age of you're an adult.
Yeah,
you're a real
Yeah,
adult.
yeah.
And I think you have to look back at your life, which I did. I looked back and I sort of thought to myself, well, am I where I want to be? Have I done what I wanted to do? And I say these things to people and they say, well, Rob, we've watched you over the last 10 years do so much. You've been so active. You've been everywhere. You've been busy. And I think for me, because I'm such a go-getter, I want it all. I want to succeed at every single one of my trades, and being a jack of all trades, it's hard to give 100% to one when you're splitting it across 10 different moves, you know?
Yeah. And you spread yourself in doing it like that as well, isn't it?
You do.
But it's like, so what did you think was like, where did you want to be at 30?
So I think when I was a lot younger and sort of coming into my adult life, I didn't really plan on doing the things that I did in terms of television, reality TV.
Yeah, let's go back to that because you don't ever talk about this, yeah.
No.
And you never told me this as well, but somebody else told me that, and then I don't know who it was. It's someone close to us, and I think you know them as well. But she goes to me, "Oh yeah, he was on Love Island," and I was like, "Because we don't watch this stuff, yeah."
Of course.
We didn't know that you was on Love Island. So
Yeah.
so what was that like a brief thing, or was that? Firstly, I want to know, how does one get onto Love Island? Not that I have the body for it. But
So-
how does one get onto it?
Love Island was the first piece of television that I did. It was my first experience of being in front of cameras and knowing that your content's going to be grabbed and potentially taken out of context. And
Is that what happened?
No. I was very fortunate, and I do look back, and I am happy about how that went. I didn't get what I thought or wanted to get out of it.
Did you think you was going to get
the
the ASOS deal straight away from it?
You have that in your head, don't you? You do. So, I mean, I was living quite a normal life.
How old was you then when you went on to the Love Island thing?
24.
She was still quite young, but that's the age that they want you for, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, prior to that, I was just doing a normal life. I always made music. I've always been very energetic, so I've always kind of been out there, but I didn't really have a journey set for me or plan. I didn't know what was next. I just knew that there was going to be something, And I remember it. I'll tell you the story of how I got onto Love Island. So, I had a really good friend, and she said to me, "Oh, you should do TV or whatever." And no, let's go back. So I was sitting in my office at the time, and one of my best mates worked with me, and he knew me from school. And he said, "Oh, Rob, you've done quite a bit, already up to 24. With everything I was doing with TV and catwalks and modelling and different jobs all over the place. So that's kind of where I started, was the modelling scene." And then he said, "Well, what's next? What are you going to do for 24?" And I said, "I wouldn't mind doing TV." And weirdly, within like 3 days of him saying that to me, someone I know called me from, he's from Bedford, where I was brought up originally, where I'm originally from. He called me and said, "Right, I've got a contact in ITV, and someone's just dropped out of Naked Attraction." Right?
Okay.
I don't know if you know that show.
Yeah, I know about it. It's a bit mad.
Right. Yeah. Right. And they need someone right now. Do you want to go and do it? We'll put you in a taxi. We'll take you over to ITV's offices. We'll film it. Now, of course, the concept of the show isn't something that I would...
Wait, did you know about it though beforehand?
Not really. I just knew it was a TV show, and...
Yeah, but if you know about that TV show, you know what it's about.
But I'd never watched it, so I didn't know the full context of it. And I was kind of sitting there like, I've got 5 minutes to make a decision. It's just been brought to me. We'll put you in a taxi right now. And I was working in an office, like I said, and I spoke to my boss. She said, "I can go. If you want to go, you can go." So I'm like, what do I do? And of course, I ended up saying, "Why am I even debating doing this? Of course I'm not going to do this. My family would be extremely disappointed, and that's the ultimate goal, is to make my family proud. So that would have went in the totally wrong direction. So I said,
Depends how you look at it, innit?
This is ridiculous, right? So I said no. And within a few days' time, then I spoke to one of my friends, and she said to me, "Look, if you're going to do a TV show, you should do something bigger. X on the Beach, Love Island." And this was the time when all of that was quite fresh. It was it was more popular than it is now, I'd say. They were the good times when Love Island was good, and there was a lot going on. And
was you in the time where it like popped off?
Yeah,
there was a year it popped off with I think she's Irish. The girl was Irish, and I forgot her name.
I don't know.
There was an Irish girl on there, and she's just like I just remember her, and the reason why I say it popped off,
Moira,
something like that.
Something like
but yeah, because I feel like it popped off at that time. Was you during that time?
No, I was season 2.
All right, so what would that season have been?
So who won that? It was Nathan and Cara won that. Good people. They're good people. But no, so
So you was in fresh early when it was like just kicked off, basically.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes the best times of doing it, because second season, it's got a lot to hold up, isn't it, from the first season?
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I knew that TV was kind of the direction I was going to take. I didn't know if that was going to be acting, and then that Naked Attraction thing. I said, no, I'm not doing. That's ridiculous. And my friend said to me, you should do either one of these bigger shows. I said, okay, well, I'll apply. Right? No, that's a lie. I didn't even apply. I got a message on Facebook from one of the casting producers.
Yeah.
And they said to me, hi, we think you'd be good on this. Can we have a chat on the phone? And this was like a few days after. I said, oh, this is crazy. You know, I've just had this conversation and all these things have suddenly came towards me, you know, law of attraction, I guess. And I got a call from them and went through the conversation on the phone, said, well, we think we've got means to bring you into the office. So I went into the office, met the executive producers, etc., etc. But then they kind of said, right, we've done everything with you. We've done your medical and everything. So you're in the pool now. You know you're in the pool.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you that you're on until you're on. Well, they didn't tell me I was on until I was on. So in the meantime, they're getting all the original cast ready. And I knew one of them. I knew Marlin, who was on that year. And I bumped into her. I was judging a modelling competition. And I bumped into her there. And she said, oh, I'm going abroad next month. I said, where are you going? She said, I can't tell you. I looked at her. I said, I know where you're going.
Yeah.
I said, because I think I'm going there too.
Yeah.
She said, oh, well, I know that I'm going. Do you not know? I said, no. I said, oh, so then I sort of felt like, oh, that's that. I'm not going on. Yeah. They've already chose their people. And then the show started. I'm still kind of waiting.
The show started?
And I'm still waiting at home, and I'm still working this job that I really didn't like. And, you know, I'm in the office every day thinking, oh,
when's my time
out there, going home and watching the show and being like, why haven't they called? Why haven't they called? And then they said to me, right, we're going to bring you out in 2 weeks. We're going to bring you in as one of the bombshells.
Yeah.
I said, okay, cool. Right, I'm doing this. This is brilliant. So I started planning, getting everything ready. And then it hit maybe Friday, and they said, they rang me and said, do you want to fly out tomorrow? I said, I thought it was coming next week. They said, do you want to fly out tomorrow? And I, of course, said, let's go.
Yeah.
So I packed my stuff. I flew out, and little did I know, it wasn't straight into the show. I was put with 3 other guys.
Yeah.
And we had to go in and speed date the girls in the villa.
Okay.
And then and then the girls had to pick their 2 favourites.
Yeah.
They picked me and a guy called Adam. And then it went to public vote, and they voted Adam in. And I still remember the moment we were standing there waiting for the results. They said, right, Adam, you're going in the villa. And I just sort of stood there and kind of thought, oh, that's it. I've come all this way. I was all excited about it. You know, you think, like you said, you think you're going to blow up after this, your life's sorted. And it didn't happen like that for me. And I left.
So what happened after that? So you left, and then what did you hear from them?
Well, I didn't want to come home because I knew, you know, quite a lot of people knew me, and I sort of thought, oh, I don't want to go home to all of the, oh, why didn't you get on? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? So I had appearances on, I think, 2 episodes, and then I said to ITV that I don't want to go home yet. I said, can you get one of your taxis to take me over to another place in Mallorca, which I already knew because I'd been there before. So I knew a few people there. They said, yeah, cool. So they took me over there, and then they said, right, you're free. So it was just me in Spain, just wandering around. And I remember walking up the strip, and I saw a couple of these girls, and they were like, they were looking at me and stuff, and I was just standing there on the corner, just chilling, doing whatever I was doing. And they were complimenting me, and they thought I was Spanish because I was really tanned, and I was wearing like a full white outfit, and I think I was smoking a cigar. I think I was standing,
Spanish.
Yeah, it's like, Espanol. So I walked over to them. I said, girls, I said, I am English, and I thank you for the compliments. I said, what are you guys doing out here? I said, oh, we work for this club over here. I said, okay, introduce me to your boss. I said, oh, they took me over to him, shook his hand, and said, what have I got to do to get a job around here? He said, you got one. What do you want to do? And that was it. And I stayed in Mallorca for just over a month, just doing sort of, you know, I look back, it's not me now, but it was good fun. And I worked for one of the clubs out there doing repping and stuff. Had a really good time. But then I came home, you know, it was like, right, it's time to come home now. Reality's got to hit. And, you know, after thinking you're gonna shoot up and it doesn't happen, then you're back home, back to your day job, back to normal life.
So is that what happened? You went straight back to the day job?
Straight back to the day job. I think I lasted a day in the office before I said, I can't do this.
Why did you feel like that?
It puts you in a dark place.
Yeah, because during lockdown, I had to go back to like doing some more, I don't know how to say it, like normal work.
Yeah.
Like normal day. And I don't want to downplay normal daytime work because I respect everybody that does
Can't
that.
knock the hustle.
You can't. And it's not easy to do. But I remember sitting in that office and then I had to basically do some contracting work for somebody else at that point. And I've been working for myself for time, And I sat there and I felt like really sick.
Yeah.
I just felt sick, like my head was spinning a bit and I felt really hot. And I had to go to the toilet and calm myself down a bit. And I had this like brain fog for a bit. And that's when I realised like that was like too much for me at that time.
It's a panic.
Yeah, I must have like, I don't know what the situation was, but I don't know, it was like the reality of life or what it was.
I think mentally you put yourself somewhere, and then when that doesn't last or you have to take a moment out of it, it's a panic. And I think that's how I felt when I got back. You know, my mind was in a different place. I'm in this job and I couldn't even focus. You know, I couldn't focus. And like I said, I think I was just looking out the window, just not doing any work, just staring out the window, just in dreamland of like, this isn't for me. Like I feel like there's something more for me. And it was just obvious, you know, it was either I was going to get fired or I leave now, and I like to be in control of my decisions. So I got up and I said, I can't do this. And I left. And that was kind of the beginning of the journey. It gave me a taste. Like going on Love Island for such a brief time, it gave me a taste. I thought I was going to shoot up, but then because my mind was already here, but I was here, I needed to get on the grind because I knew how that felt.
Yeah,
I knew exactly how it felt to be there, that rush, the everything inside you, you know, it's chemicals inside your body that make you feel a type of way. And when you're told you're flying out to Spain and you're going to be on TV in front of all these people, it's a rush. And when you come home and you lose that rush, it's a sad place. So I said, right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it another way. And that gave me the taste, and that's what made me say, right, I'm gonna keep trying and do some different stuff and see where I can get to. So I did, you know, and following that, I did a number of TV shows. I think I've done 5 reality TV shows in total. And just because there were opportunities, people, once I did the Love Island thing, even though it was so brief, my face was out there. So opportunities were coming to me a lot easier. People were saying to me, oh, do you want to come on this? Do you want to do this? And me, I didn't say no to anything. I said, yeah, let's go. Anywhere I can get my face out there.
But there is something I want to ask you about that actually, because you're already at that, you already tasted that high life. Like, let's say, for example, for only like a little bit. Yeah. Some people can go into a spiral with that. So they'll be like, they'll only think that that's the only thing that they can attain. And then, you know, that mid part or that lower bit, they won't work towards that. So let's put it a bit more simpler. You have, let's say you're eating some of the best fish in the most expensive restaurant, but then there's a local fish shop there which you won't like that place no more because you know you would have had it before if you didn't know what the most expensive place in Mayfair was. But if you went to the place in Tottenham, you might be a bit like, oh, you know, this is a bit low for me, so I'll only ever eat at that place. But you could have fed your hunger by eating at the place in Tottenham all the time, as opposed to eating in Mayfair. So some people don't like going into those spots. So if it's like, even if you're doing gigs, for example, you're doing your local community hall, but that's paying you 200 quid, but then you got Glastonbury that's going to pay you 2k, and you've tasted Glastonbury, but Glastonbury comes once a year, but the local community hall might come 10 times a year. But sometimes people don't want to do that because they think that they should only do the Glastonbury. Yeah,
well, you've tasted it, right? So your mind is another place. You know what exists out there. You know, the world is bigger than your hometown. And once you have that feeling, it's very difficult to get rid of it. And it's never left. So, you know, I did a few different things, and I was trying to battle to sort of find that buzz again, taste that fish again. Yeah. I wanted to taste that fish, and I couldn't eat the cod from the local anymore. So it mentally, I was in it's a difficult place. Because it's like, well, how can I get there? Especially because of the show that I went on was the biggest. When was I ever going to get that chance again? So I had to get to the grind, you know, but it's a difficult journey because you want it so bad, but you don't know how to get there. And every day you're not there is a difficult place to be.
Yeah, because you did do a fair few shows, didn't you? Because I remember seeing you on that thing with Jimmy Carr and
Yeah, did that show with Jimmy Carr and Catherine Ryan. Did the final show that I filmed was probably the biggest show that I did with the most airtime. But unfortunately, one of my co-stars took his own life, and this was during the Caroline Flack. You know, when that all happened, so it was a very, very. I think they just wanted to sweep that show under the rug, so nobody sort of put a stigma on reality shows, because on social media it was all reality shows. They should ban these shows because, you know, people keep.
Yeah,
you know, there was a number. There was Mike. There was Sophie Graydon. There was a number of people
that happened like literally close to here, literally around the corner from here. I remember.
Yeah,
it's sad, man. You know, there's certain times though that you gotta like certain dreams that you have in your life that you have to put a nail in. You have to sometimes just nip it in the bud and say it's done. It's like sometimes becoming a footballer, right? Yeah. There's kids at the age of like 7.
But my dream was never to be a reality TV star.
That's it. But it's a career though, isn't it? So like, if you're gonna like race your career, it's like trying to race a footballer's career at the age of 30. You're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
It's like it's virtually impossible.
Yeah.
No matter how like everybody can achieve something or blah, there is at some capacity you can play football because there's non-league football and etc. etc. But if you want to be like Ronaldo, the reality is at 30 you'll never get there.
Yeah.
Because there's kids at 7 years old who are going to be the next Ronaldo that they already know and they're already in mad training to become that.
But I think that's the great thing about growth and hindsight. I look back now and I'm so glad I didn't last on that show.
Why?
Because I'd be robbed from Love Island. And I got to walk away with that, with the taste, with the drive, with the energy, but I was just robbed. And I've managed to continue my path without that stigma being attached.
What did you do with that then, that you're saying you had that drive? What was the next thing you did after all of those TV shows and stuff?
What did I do? So, I mean, sort of in the meantime, I was building my modelling portfolio and doing lots of jobs. And like you said, this is how I met you guys. I was doing Asian Catwalk from young. You know, I did National Asian Wedding Show. And that was following on from doing Mr. England. So that was my and this was all before the reality stuff. I was doing all the modelling. You know, I've done some pageants and stuff. Won Mr. Bedfordshire, Mr. Buckinghamshire. Went to Mr. England twice, and I was picked up. Started doing the National Asian Wedding Show. Got heavily involved in that. I think that's obviously how I kind of came into the eyesight, where I met you guys and was asked to come and do. I think it was Rupika's music video.
Oh yeah.
I think that was the first one we shot.
It was abroad, wasn't it, or something, wasn't it? Yeah. I think I remember that.
I think that was before any of the Diamond Jewels adverts.
Yeah, it was, because I didn't meet you at that point. I met you just after that.
So me, Mumsy, and Nish, we flew out to, and Rupika, we flew out to, and a few other people. We flew out there, and we shot Rupika's music video. That was great. Obviously met the team. Yeah. And sort of known you guys since. And then following that, we did all the adverts with Diamond Jewels. And that was kind of the focus. So I thought, well, let me try and make it in this. So, you know, there's the reality TV career. And obviously, all meanwhile I'm doing this, I still make music. I'm still holding down a day job. Because as much as I left that day job at 24, prior to that, I was still in that realm. Then I hit 24, got that taste of the good fish, and didn't want to do that anymore. But then you get to a point where you have to, because you've got to
pay the bills.
You've got to pay the bills.
Of course.
And that can either kill your dream, or you can say, right, I'm going to work the day job, and when I get home, I'm going to grind it out. Working.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what I did.
That's not something I've realised. A lot of like artists or like people in the creative world in general. Generally, I see this with artists, especially with the younger artists that I work with, or I've done interviews with, or whatever. They're very scared to do the daytime job and do the music. They think they need to be like in studio 24/7 because they hear about all these producers and like singers and rappers. Yeah. They're just in there sleeping in the studio. Reality of it is that we've got like so much like technology now. I don't feel like you need to do that anymore. Don't get me wrong, the grind. If you're gonna sleep in the studio and carry on working, then cool, do it. If you have that luxury, but not everybody has that luxury. And the time's ticking. Of course, like people say, oh, you know, you're in your prime in your early 20s and whatnot. There's people who do say you're in your prime in your early 30s, but it's if you don't have that balance, you might lose everything in those early 20s.
Yeah.
If you put all of your eggs into one basket.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing the daytime job, and I'm like to do, if you guys can do a daytime job, like, or even part time, just get your money in, because you can also pay for other stuff that way as well.
And then I hit 30 and I had the best year of my life, which just put everything into perspective. And I had to go through these journeys. I had to go through this confusion and lessons, but I had to learn from them. And I had to sit down, use all those lessons to be able to get to the next step. And now I realize, and in hindsight, I look back and I said, well, this was all for a reason. Everything I went through was for a reason. But there were points I could have given up.
Yeah, easily.
I could have said, this is too much, and
Personally,
given up.
I feel like from the Love Island time, you could have easily given up that time. I don't know how mentally, when you came home after that month, and then you went to a day job, going back now, and then we're talking about the salon, and let's just put all of those, let's say, L's, which are actually W's in my opinion, because at least you tried it, you've done something. You can say amongst other people you've done something at least.
In hindsight, they are W's.
Yeah,
100%
as well.
At the time, they felt like losses.
Yeah, that's
because
what I'm saying.
I lost money and
Yeah.
and certain things.
Wait, did the Love Island thing pay?
No. They pay you loss of earnings while you're out there. I mean,
Loss of earnings.
loss of earnings. Yeah,
Well, that's minimum wage, though, did it?
it's rubbish. But I mean, I was on there for
I thought they would have shoved you a quick bag in there.
no. You get paid loss of earnings, but that depends on how long you're on the show. I wasn't really on the
2
show.
days. Yeah.
You know, what were they going to give me?
Yeah,
50 quid and you're on your way.
Yeah.
You know.
But then you would have spugged it all in Spain, didn't you?
Yeah, I would have 100%. But no, you don't get paid for any of these things. You get paid in exposure, and it's what you do next.
It's what you do with it as well, isn't it?
I
do feel like the exposure thing is a bit outdated now. I don't think it really works like that anymore.
I mean, you can get
Back in the day,
exposure by doing stupid things on the internet now.
Yeah. I'd rather do that, if I'm honest, than have some big company like ITV tell me, actually, ITV, if you want to give me exposure, man's active.
Yeah.
But
Pick up ITV.
yeah, there are other brands available as well. But my main thing is that when you're going back to what I was saying, I feel like, you know, at the time, if there were like losses during that time or like big L's that you're taking, that's like really detrimental to your mental health as well as your like seeing your drive and your perspective. How was you feeling at that time when you came home and you was like, I don't want to do this job no more? Was it the drive that took you to the other place, or was it like, or did you go into a hole for a bit of time?
Not straight away. I went into a hole. I went into a complete hole. I couldn't show it though because of pride, and I think the closest I got to giving up was during lockdown. Not to get too deep, but I went into a very, very dark place where I didn't want to do anything. I wasn't even sure I wanted to be there. Yeah. And again, great support group, great people around me, some incredible friends. And they said, you know, just carry on. And
is that what you'd say was the main reason as to like that kept you going, was the people around you?
when I was at that dark place, I found God again. And with that, that gave me a focus, and it gave me an area to study. And I realized everything that I was chasing it means nothing. None of this means anything. Who am I trying to impress anymore? You know, and when I say it removed my ego, that was because what is all? None of it means anything.
Yeah.
None of it means anything at the end of the day. All these followers, these numbers, none of it means anything. And I realized, I'm not spending enough time with my family. I'm just focusing on absolute crap that at the end of the day means nothing. So it really humbled me and put me in a position where when I woke up, it was like, right, my priorities have to be X, Y, and Z. And that's...
So what was your priorities before that time where you had a real reality check with yourself? What was your priorities before that you changed? So then, like for me personally, I'd say before lockdown, my priorities were just to make money. But now my priorities are still to make money. Don't get me wrong. Money is a big motivator for me. But I've also realized that taking care of myself physically is very, very important. That's one thing I didn't do. Was like make sure because I'm young, I was like, it'll be okay. So I was just eating whatever I wanted to eat, drank whatever I wanted to drink, never really exercised much and stuff like that. Then when lockdown came, it all caught up on me. I put on like shed load of weight.
Yeah.
I was getting ill. I was getting sick. Like my hay fever was like up like so much worse than it used to be, and it was like a snowball effect of every little thing. And I just like was getting like the flu like that. I was getting feeling sick. I still suffer with this to this day. Like I can't eat certain foods anymore because like my stomach is like so sensitive now. But it's just from eating fast food all the time and stuff like that. Now I can barely eat any fast food. And that's because of product of what I was doing over the past X amount of years in my 20s. So now my priorities are changing, saying, cool, let me make money, but let's not forget that if I'm gonna need to exercise once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week, or if I need to, go and see my family, or spend time with the younger kids in the family, or go see my friends and chill with them a little bit, or sometimes I would like, let me see what Satch is doing and let me spend some time there, or see what Shimon's doing and spend some time there, or see what Nish is doing, spend some time there, like do certain things which benefit other people as opposed to myself.
And that's right. And before lockdown, I think that to be completely honest, I was selfish. I was in a selfish place. It was all about me. It was, I'm going to get here, I'm going to get here, I'm going to get here, and I'm going to do this. And, that affected relationships. It affected a lot of things in my life. And it made everything temporary. And I had nothing permanent. There was nothing permanent in my life. Everything was so temporary. And when when you get into bed on your own in the evening, you look at it, it's like, this is not how I want the rest of my life to be. So, in terms of priorities, what they changed, it made me come out there, and it made me start seeing other people again, and saying, well, I need to start working as a team for a start. I need to start growing with people, and it's not all about me anymore. I think my focus suddenly became helping other people and being with my family more. So prior to lockdown, I wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted to be celebrity. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. And after it, I looked at it and I said, I don't want to be any of those things. I just want enough. I just want enough time in the day to be able to see my family and make sure that I'm there for them. I just want enough to be able to pay my bills. I just want enough. And once I wasn't chasing the millions, I was just chasing enough. I think that's when it just went okay for me, because I was no longer, and I prayed on it. I prayed on it and I asked for guidance of what am I supposed to be doing. And from that moment when I really dedicated myself to my faith and doing the right thing, everything kind of clicked. And that's, like I said, my 30s was my best year of my life so far. Being 30, sorry. Was the best year of my life so far, and that's because I gave my focus and energy to God. And I think it doesn't matter how much talent or how good looking you are or how much charisma and how much people like you, without God, none of it means anything. And that's one thing that I really realized. And I realized all this TV show reality stuff, this doesn't sit right with what I believe. And I've always believed it, but I never focused on it. And I think I lost my faith throughout that journey, chasing all this materialism and rubbish. And I got to a point where when I found that again, I realized it was mindset. My mindset changed. I don't need that. I don't want that. And I don't need to be that type of person. I want enough for me, enough for my family, enough for my friends. And I want to be in a position that I can help people. So, following that, I'll talk about what I'm doing now and what followed that.
Well, before we talk about what you're doing now, I got a bone to pick with you. Every time I go on TikTok, bro, I just see your face, and I don't understand. I don't understand it. So, for the listeners and the viewers, right, just to break it down, every time I don't go on TikTok often. I actively don't go on TikTok often because I get lost in TikTok.
Yeah,
I just literally scroll all day. But every time I go onto TikTok, consistently, and I rate you for this, you're always live on TikTok. And I don't know if it's because of the time I'm going or because you're always just putting in the work there. And I know you're putting in work there. But you need to educate us as well, because I don't get it. bruv, every single time you lot are sitting doing some battles which I don't understand, and then all I can hear is, "Oh yeah, we need 10 more roses" and stuff like that. I'm like, bruv, what is this? I'm there, and then one of the baddest thing, because obviously people don't know that I know you, yeah. So I go, I don't know if you noticed this, I'm always trolling in the comments.
Yeah.
I'm always saying something mad that will like makes you react to something that nobody else will understand.
Yeah. I mean, with all of that, that was... I've always looked at TikTok from the very beginning as a bunch of kids doing silly dance moves. And
Yeah, that's what
I'm not
interested,
interested.
isn't it?
I never even had the app.
Yeah.
And it was all big, and this was all during lockdown. Everyone was on it, and they were loving it. And I'm too old for that rubbish.
Yeah.
And I was at the position in my life where I was almost giving up on being the creative and thinking I need to go back to my academic side and, maybe work myself up on a commercial, in an office and doing the suit and tie business. And my friend said to me, he said, "Mate, you should go live on TikTok." I said, "Why?" I said, for what?" And he said, "Mate, just trust me, just do it." And I said, "I'm not interested." And one day I drove to KFC.
Where all the best things happen.
All the best stories start with I drove to KFC. And I was sitting there eating my food in my car, just on I don't know what day it was, just sitting there on an afternoon, just having a little bit of KFC, just a bit hungry, just floating around and sitting on my phone bored. I thought, well, it was playing on my mind what my friend said to me. I thought, let me just go live. Because I used to do that on Facebook Live. I used to sit there for hours on Facebook Live when I was younger, just performing my music and stuff. But there was no sort of, there was nothing to make you want to come back. I did it for the love of it and the fun of it. So I said, all right, let me go on live. So I clicked it. I was just sitting there eating my chicken. And I didn't have many followers on TikTok. The algorithm on there is pretty great. It pumps anyone that's interested in what you're doing, it will pump them to you. So suddenly I had like a load of people in my life and everyone's talking to me and they're like, this and this and this, you should come back and blah, blah, blah. And within 20 minutes of being on it, I'd spoken to a bunch of great people who, when I said I do music, they were like, we want to hear it. So now I had a reason to come back on when I got home. So I came off and I got home and I thought that was really stimulating. I really enjoyed that. I put my camera back on and then I performed my music. And suddenly, after all the, after releasing it, lockdown happening, me sort of losing the buzz, it brought my buzz back. And it was a whole new group of people to perform to and share my music with. And they loved it. And it was like, it gave me some stimulation, that buzz again. I was like, this is great. This is what I've been kind of searching for. And so I just was consistent with it every single day going on, because I knew every day there's new people joining. There's another 100 people to show my music to. You show it to 100, 2 people might like it. They might go stream it. Okay, well, you can make money off streams. Maybe if I keep doing this over and over again, 2 people will be 20, 20 will be 200, 200 will be 2,000, so on and so forth. And I was just consistent. And like I said, I got to a point where I wanted to do things for other people. So I was performing my music, but I was also trying to build a community, which is ultimately what I've done. I've built a community online with a couple hundred people now, and we're a big friendship group. And with that, everybody streams the music, so I get to be creative. I get to come back and be the jack of all trades, because I don't just do music on there. I do book clubs, which is...
What's that?
So every Tuesday. So when I get home tonight, I've got book club. So at the minute we're reading 48 Laws of Power.
So you like just sit there reading?
I sit there for an hour. I do a law every week.
Okay.
For the next 48 weeks. I think we've got 44 weeks to go until we finish the book now. But every week we do a different chapter, and then we talk about it and go over how we're going to implement certain changes into our life throughout the week.
Okay.
And this is what sort of keeps the viewers captivated, because they're like, okay, yeah, well, this isn't just the usual old rubbish on TikTok. It's there's value in this.
Well, I ain't see none of that value. All I see you asking for roses and unicorns and whatnot.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to build value because you're right. There is all of that side of
Yeah.
TikTok. There's the fun and games, and there's
Yeah.
all the there's all the silly games, and there's just having fun on it. But then I thought to myself, well, I don't want to waste my time just doing that.
Yeah.
I want to be able to give back, and I want to be able to do something that's really helpful. So we read Atomic Habits, we read David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. We went through a number of books, and that helped a lot of people. I had a number of messages after the live. Rob, you've really helped me. You've really helped change my mindset. You this and this and this. Getting those messages was that feeling of I'm doing something right, and that was a good feeling. So I just stayed consistent with it. So I mean, in terms of what you're talking about, there's moments we'll go on with other creators, and you can have games and stuff. That's more for the entertainment value, but then there is a learning value in my lives.
Yeah.
As well, so we do a film club every Thursday as well. So on top of that, it's a community vibe.
I'd be on that film Thursdays thing.
Yeah,
You ever know about that? Yeah. I watch bare films.
Yeah,
I love films.
It's
I'm more of a series kind of guy, like a bang out box series.
Yeah,
but I love films.
we've got a Discord chat, so
Okay.
everybody that comes into the live, thousands of people come in every night, but 10 of them might join the Discord, and that grows every day. And that's the team, that's the community that we've built. And for people that are on the internet and they're lonely, or they need a space to meet people, or they want to find some friends, or they want to learn something, I wanted to give a bit of everything. No matter what you're looking for, our community has it. So you come in there now, and if the world's a dark place at the moment.
Yeah, and that's another thing that you've just touched on something really good there, because I feel like probably our era was a bit different, because I feel like if you was born in the 90s, you probably had some of the best era in the sense of making friends.
We were outside, right?
We was outside. Summers were outside. None of this internet stuff, none of this TikTok, Instagram. It was we was outside, and you got beats from your mom and dad, and that was the reality of stuff. Like, your neighbors would beat you if you was like messing around. Everybody looked out for you. Now it's a very, very weird place. Like, you'd
go out, graze your leg, and you get told to man up.
Yeah, and on top of that, you go out and graze your leg, and no one will help you.
Yeah,
like, that's the reality of what's happening today. And people like you and I are probably haven't realized it. But when was the last time you said hello to your neighbor? Like, you don't realize
it's weird. I thought about that on the way up here.
Yeah, like, it's not normal anymore.
Yeah,
like, a lot of people don't talk to their neighbors. So
because I'm going away soon, and then I thought, who's going to look after my cat? Who's going to look after my cat? And I thought, I really wished I had a good relationship with my neighbors.
Maybe you start building this and look after the cat. But that's my point. Is like, we're in a very, very different era. So because we had that when we was younger, we don't really think about it now. We just kind of got on with our lives.
Yeah.
But the younger people and some of a lot older people don't have anybody anymore. Like what these Modena and Cheyenne and these lot are doing, that's the only thing that gets reactions nowadays. That's like seems like the valuable thing, seeing madness.
And they know that. So
Yeah,
you have
of course,
to
and
ask
they go
yourself
mad.
how much of this is real,
I think.
and how much of it is scripted.
So this was my thing as well, right? And I find this really weird.
Because there's certain things they say that I don't believe anyone would say with
Yeah.
self-respect.
No,
But
there's
they
also
know
certain
if
things
they
that people wouldn't
act
do.
that way, it's going to boost them up, and they're going to be able to get onto those.
That's it. And there's
places.
certain things, even that side of it, like, self-respect, but there's also certain things that you wouldn't do in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Whether it be PG, whether it be like...
And maybe that's why I've never been on the leaderboard.
Yeah, maybe.
Up there.
That's what I'm saying. That's
know?
the sad thing, though, because you're doing something that's quite important. And this goes with everything in life, I think. You do things that are important. No one looks. No one really cares. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Your people are looking. And they do care. And they're the great people because they come for you. But there's like hundreds and thousands of people who are going on my man's live. And I don't want to aim this at Modine at all, because I actually find him bare funny sometimes.
I think it's
I think it's bare funny.
The stuff that
yeah.
I've seen of him in the
There's
little
some
viral...
stuff that is mad funny, and I find it funny. But I do feel like also, like they go back to what I was saying, people love that stuff, but I think it's kind of sad because I do feel like possibly, and I don't want to taint him with this or any of the other TikTok peoples, but there's certain people who have issues, and I feel like
It's exploited.
yeah, people on TikTok are definitely exploiting that. And it's like, and then someone said to me, but who in their right mind would go there and do that? But this was my thing. I remember seeing like disabled, but back when we was younger, disabilities, people used to cuss like people had disabilities.
Just take the mic.
Like a lot of people now, they're a bit more woke with it. They understand it. Don't get me wrong, it's still bad. People still do take the piss with disabilities. But I feel like when we were younger, it wasn't like people didn't really care. They just used to say whatever they want to say and it was all right.
Sure.
So this is in my opinion anyway, but when
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Yeah.
I've never dissed anyone with a disability.
No, I've never dissed anyone with disability either, but my thing is that I used to see it a lot.
Yeah.
And I came from an area which was like really racist, and that went into the disabilities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They prey on people like that as well. Something like in school, I remember there was a kid who was disabled, and he'd done something really stupid in school where he like set something on fire, but he knew he was doing it, and the kids in the school told him to do it.
Encourage him, yeah.
And he did it, and he got a reaction, and they were like, "Oh yeah, do it again." And he got like excited because he could like fitting in for once.
Mm-hmm.
And then it made me think, isn't that what's happening on TikTok?
Yeah. It's
And
exactly what's
that's
happening.
bare sad.
And
That's so sad.
And following it, there's a monetary gain.
Yeah.
So it's even more
Yeah.
encouraged. And, you know, it's like this Mizzy kid that's just all over the news at the minute. He's done some really silly things, running people's houses and stealing someone's dog. But he's now on Piers Morgan. He's all over the place.
What is that? I don't get that though.
I don't know the detail to discuss it really, but it's
Well,
right.
the
You've
long
got to
story
do something really out the blue, which is
Yeah.
dangerous because other kids coming up, they might think I need to do something really stupid, and
yeah.
that could be a lot worse than just
Yeah.
whatever, you know. And
Running in someone's house. it
with
could
the
be
culture
another.
nowadays, it can be quite dangerous.
Before you go, Rob, thank you for coming on though. It's been a great chat. I thought we was going to talk nonsense because that's what we normally do.
Yeah,
But I'm glad that we had a deep convo. Like this is probably the first deep convo we've ever had.
yeah, I think so, man. I've
This is
enjoyed it.
sick. Yeah,
Good
same,
fun, man.
same. And this is your first podcast. You've done really good for a first podcast, you know.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's my first podcast, and yeah, I've enjoyed it. I'm glad it was with you as well, Kai.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you coming, and because yeah, this podcast stuff ain't easy, you know. Like people don't know, like they'll think that it's not a conversation. It's like I'm asking questions,
Yeah.
and they answer it, and that's it. But you've in depth asked everything, so yeah, sick.
I've enjoyed
Great.
it, and I think there's a number of things we haven't touched on. So
Yeah,
you
but
know,
there's always part twos for that. And you know what? That part two would be with everyone. That's what I want to do. I want like Satch to be here, Mumsy to come, Nish to come. I want everyone to come and then just have a chat, all of us. Like that's one of my goals. It's just whether flipping we can get everyone in one room. That's gonna be the hard part. But there will be a day, and you know, there's that one day when someone doesn't shoot. I'm gonna tell everyone, yo, because everyone turns up that day and realize we're always there. So when that happens, I'll be like, yo, listen, just hire the venue for an extra hour, and
get the podcast
podcast in while we're there. I'll have the camera
man.
people there already. It'll be good to go.
Absolutely.
But yeah, before you go, Rob, where can everybody follow you?
Life of Remedy. Everything is Life of Remedy. Everything is Life of Remedy. Life of Remedy.
And TikTok's Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and every single day, man.
I'm on every single night, 10 p.m. ish. I'm usually late, but my people know that, so I kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally 10 till 3 in the morning.
Right.
I will be live on TikTok. You can find me. Every day is different. It's all fun and games. And if you want to come join the community, by all means, come and have a laugh with us.
And send him all these universe things and whatnot, yeah. That's the most important bit.
Exactly.
Roses, and universes, unicorns, all of that stuff. No, but this has been a sick chat, man. I appreciate you coming. And yeah, we'll get it in again, 100%, because there will be a different conversation with somebody else that will challenge you more than I will. They're my stupid questions I ask anyways.
It's been fun.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my brother.
We'll catch up soon anyways.
Sweet.
Thank you for everyone for listening and watching. Remember, follow us at Moving Famous on everything. Like, comment, and subscribe. We get views, but we haven't got subscribers. But that's important because if you subscribe, the easier it is for me to get a bigger guest. So if you want to see Drake on this podcast, just subscribe so I can say, yo, Drake, this is how many subscribers I've got. Come onto my podcast. And then he'll just roll up. He won't, but
You never know.
I gotta try.
You never know. You never know.
But yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Yeah, see you later. Peace.